and welcome to Hard Copy from our channel's television studios in Abuja. I am Kayla Magwa. Are these people parading themselves as opposition credible enough to present an alternative? That's the question my guest asked recently. Let me quote him. He says, I must warn Nigerians, we need an opposition. We need opposition in any democracy because without opposition, a nation stands the chance of sliding into grief. But the question you have to ask yourself is, are these people who are parading themselves as opposition, are they credible enough to present an alternative to each and every one of us? These are questions we must ask them, end quote. Yes, my guest tonight is Senator Shehu Sani. And he made that statement at a press briefing in Kaduna while reacting to the saga surrounding former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai. It's an interesting question coming from him in particular, because he used to be in the opposition, the Alliance for Democracy, then the Congress for Progressive Change, then to the All Progressives Congress, and then to the People's Redemption Party, then the People's Democratic Party, and now back to the ruling All Progressives Congress. I hope I got the progression correctly. So he would be in the best position to help us understand what is wrong with opposition in Nigeria and what is his end game in joining the APC right now. He has been very vocal since the trials of his friend and former governor Nasir El-Rufai, when El-Rufai said the National Security Advisor was behind his ordeal and sought answers to the importation of thallium sulfate, a highly toxic substance considered extremely dangerous. Senator Shehu Sani told him to focus on the allegations before him and clear his name instead of diverting attention with his purported and phantom claims against NSA rebadging. When El-Rufai accused the president of being a tyrant, Shehu Sani said the former governor is more of a tyrant and said, I'm going to quote him, these are some of those arrested and sent to jail for criticizing the governor of Kaduna State and the Kaduna State government on their social media handles from 2015 to 2023. Their names are, and he goes on, Dr. John Namfulani, Malam Nasiru Jagaba, Stephen Kefas, and Shagun Onibio, who served for months in Kaduna prison. Tell me the meaning of a tyrant, I will post more, end quote. And he's not stopping there. He has asked anti-graft agencies to probe former Governor El-Rufai's 8 years in office. So I'm guessing that these two men will not be having iftar together anytime soon. We'll get into this rift tonight and other issues of national importance right here on Hard Copy. Senator Shehu Sani, welcome again to Hard Copy.
Thank you for having me in your program once again.
It's Ramadan.
Yes, it is.
But the war hasn't ended.
Which of the war? First?
The war between you and your friend, Nasir El-Rufai. I mean, your feed is filled with responses to every single thing. One would have thought that by now, it does feel like a rift. Even if people say, no, it's just, we're just doing what we have to do. It does feel like there is a rift. Isn't it time to mend this and find a way that both of you can move forward?
Well, thank you once again for having me in your program. Well, my response was in reaction to the allegations and the vituperations and the innuendos being dispelled by the former governor. Since he lost the ministerial nomination, he has taken up upon himself to use every opportunity to insult the person of the president, the National Security Advisor, and the governor of Kaduna State, Malam Obasani. And for whatever reason, yes, he is entitled to his opinion as a Nigerian. But as one who has held position of importance and prominence in the society, it is expected that words, statement, and utterances that will come from such a person shall be one that is crafted in decorum, discipline, and decency. But he has used every opportunity to insult. He is not the first person to be denied ministerial position, having contributed to the emergence of Tinubu as a president. We have had Yahya Bello, we have had Masari, all of them were 8 years serving governors, and none of them is in the ministerial position at this time. So we had to respond to him because from my own research and understanding, it appears that a lot of people who are sometimes sympathetic or siding with him are mostly people not from Kaduna State or who have not had the experience of what we endured for 8 years. As a governor, all that we are saying was that he is not today preaching what he practiced. And whatever his recommendations, his criticisms against this government are things which he never practiced when he was a governor. So he never believed in what he is saying. He talked about rule of law, he talked about human rights, he talked about democracy, but these are all ingredients and components of freedom which he never gave the people of Kaduna State.
When you saw that interview, all of us watched that interview in shock when he was talking about the phone, so, you know, and he was asked, where did you tap the NSA's phone? And I think a lot of things started to happen after that because of some of the responses he gave to that. So I remember him saying that the government does it all the time, but we do it too. And it was very shocking, you know, to watch him on that interview and hear some of the things that were being said. So it wasn't really surprising to a lot of Nigerians afterwards, you know, what happened. But let's get what you think about that situation. And we're seeing the case is on right now, of course. And of course, he's saying that they should withdraw that case against him and whatnot. We're seeing all of that playing out. But just your thoughts when you heard him say those things on that particular interview. Some people have said he doesn't have the capacity to do what he was saying there. He was probably just boasting. What do you think?
You were a minister. You were a governor. And you had the privilege of knowing the security implications of whatever every person says or he does. And now it is expected that as someone who was once in control of levers of power, you should be able to know the consequences of whatever you say, the implications of whatever you do, and the repercussions of whatever you are involved in. For example, for someone like me, I was not just a senator, but I was an activist and I was also a prisoner. I have been to trouble so many times in my life. I've been in police cells, I've been in military cells, I've been in DSS cells, I've been in prison not just as a detainee, but as someone who was sentenced by a military tribunal to serve a jail term for almost 15 years. And I didn't go to prison for a day or two. I spent about 4 years in prison. So, for people like us who have been through this grilling, we know the implications of whatever we're going to say and whatever we're going to do, whether it is for national security or for otherwise. And it's expected when you hold position of power also and levers of power, you should know the implications of what you're saying. But for such a grievous statement, you know that you have crossed the line of authority and crossed the line of law. So you cannot make such statement and simply say that it's a joke. It's not a joke. It is what came out from your mouth without being compelled to say it. And you say it before the whole world.
Maybe not a joke, but boasting.
So you don't boast with such a matter. For example, you said, this is a television, and I will say that I stole somebody's bicycle. And then after the television, when now an action has been taken of me, I said, no, I was just joking. And when you are even making statements that should be light, I think there should be a prefix. And then you explain that jokingly, but he was dead serious. And for everyone who knows him, is that once he has a mic before him, once he has a camera before him, he presents himself, he portrays himself, and he has that character of speaking audaciously in order to portray himself as a giant. So when you have someone of that kind, he will bound to get into trouble. And this is what I know. How can any sensible person say such kind of things, even if that person has never been in government, to say such kind of things without knowing that it comes with price to pay. So, since I told you, since he failed the ministerial screening, he has consistently targeted President Bola Tinubu. He has blamed everything that happened to him on National Security Advisor Ribadu. And he has called Sani so many things, from making false allegation against him, to dragging him into something he never knew. And what I said was, look, you are one of the very few in Nigeria that were privileged to hold positions which many will never have to the end of their life. This is a democracy where people fought for it, where people were killed, where people were imprisoned for it. Today, I can show you people who went to jail for democracy. They lost their eyes, they lost their limbs, many lost their freedoms, many were killed and were never even compensated by Nigeria government for the past 26 years. Now, you came from nowhere, and then you were a DG of BP, then you become a minister for 8 years, and you become a governor for 8 years, and you turn 65. For any sensible individual of that kind, what you should think of are two things. One is to be grateful for the Lord for giving you such opportunity to serve your country, and secondly, to be involved in charitable activities that will impact on lives of people. But now you see him, you want to fight, you want to attack, you want to destroy, simply because you are not part of it. The only government that Nasiru has not destroyed, has not lambasted, has not defamed and libeled is the one which he served, is that of Buhari and that of Obasanjo. As far as he's concerned, Eradua tried to kill him, Jonathan tried to kill him, and now Ribadu and this government is trying to kill him. So all government that he's not part of, they're all trying to kill him. And for all that I'm saying is that, for us from Kaduna State, we thought that he will try to be like an elder statesman. Okay, give him the credit. Obasani was his friend. He brought him, and he worked, and then Obasani became a governor. So, like all other persons who wants to be godfather, you respectfully pull yourself out. But he did not. He now come back to Kaduna. He wants to fight. He is 66. All the people in Kaduna State government are below 55 years. Then you come at a 66-year-old man. You come back to Kaduna trying to fight people who are the peers of your younger brothers and peers of your children.
So this is not the ruling party bullying him. This is not an opposition issue.
No, he is frustrated. He is angry because his own sense of entitlement was that after the 2023 election, he will control the governor of Kaduna State and he will be well read in the kitchen cabinet of this administration, and both failed. So now he turned toxic against both the state and the federal government and anybody.
Before we go on a break, you said his 8 years should be proved. Why?
Yeah, well, my statement was backed by what we had in Kaduna State. The Kaduna State House of Assembly in 2024 constituted a committee of experts, including accounting and auditing and forensic experts, to scan the accounts of Kaduna State, to probe the account from 2015-23. And that report, which is a document backed by facts and figures, came out with empirical evidence of wholesale looting of the treasury of Kaduna State by the government of Nasiru. And it is not an essay, it is not a thesis. This is a product of a real research document that goes through auditing and accounting, where money was stolen, who stole the money, the account it was taken, and for the purpose it was taken. These are all clearly stated in tabular form in Kaduna State to the tune of 400 and something billion naira. So when the report came out, our expectation was that the anti-corruption agencies should move just like the way they move in other states. But there was hesitation for whatever reason. And now The atmosphere is clear. You call everyone a thief, everyone corrupt, everyone is bad, and you're the only person that is good. Then there is a document before you that you only need to protect yourself. And then this theory came in of importation of whatever it is, poisonous substance, an attempt to kill you, and that because you are criticizing government and whatever, it's not the case. You have done worse to the people of Kaduna State, and we know it.
All right, we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll lay to rest the matter of Malam Nasir El-Rufai, and then take a look at some other national issues, one of them being our sovereignty. You made a statement about security and the help we are getting from the United States. We'll get to that shortly, so please stay with us on Hard Copy. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hard Copy. If you've just joined us, Senator Shehu Sani joins us tonight. We're discussing matters arising in Kaduna State, the saga being faced by the former governor Nasir El-Rufai, and other issues of national importance. Thank you so much for being with us, Senator. Okay, so let's wrap up on El-Rufai. The accusation that this is the opposition problem again, where once somebody's in opposition, the government starts to target them. And we've seen that accusation come up over and over again. In fact, the president talked about it not so long ago during Iftar, a few days ago, I think, where he said, they said I'm mostly in opposition, but I can't do anything if someone is jumping ship, you know. But there's more to it than that. We're seeing a situation where the ADC candidates in Edo State, you know, they were there for some event and we're seeing the attacks on them. We're seeing a lot of people who are not members of the APC being picked by security agents, Malami being one of those people that everyone is talking about. It's a little difficult to convince people as the All Progressives Congress that you're not going after people who are in the opposition.
Well, democracy gives everyone the right to express his opinion. And as a democracy, we must respect the right of people to differ and to challenge us because our position and criticism is the oxygen of democracy. But you shouldn't hide behind being an opposition while you have perpetrated evil and should not be brought to account. Let me give you a typical example. Yahya Bello is not an opposition, and he was arrested and tried. Ngige is not from the opposition, and he was brought in and tried under this administration. So I actually do not understand how a situation where you corruptly enrich yourself or you violated the rights of people, and simply because you move to seek refuge in the opposition and then the law shall not take its course on you. If you are involved in shady deals, if you are involved in the destruction of this country, you have to be brought to account. Is he the only member of the, they are not the only members of the opposition. David Marken is in the opposition. Why is he not arrested? Atiku is in the opposition. Why is he not arrested? And Obi is in the opposition. Why is he not arrested? So you can't. What we have seen under Buhari administration is that they did a lot in terms of destroying this country economically. And then time comes for property and accountability, and then you say that is because you say this. No, that will never happen. So as far as I'm concerned, I believe that if there are allegations that are raised against anyone, he should come out and defend himself. And for us in Kaduna State, it's not simply about the money of Kaduna. We're talking of gross human rights violations that happen that also need to be brought to account. And when he was there, today he said, it's because I'm criticizing government, they want to arrest me, it's because I'm criticizing government, they are coming after me. But look at what happened in Kaduna. He arrested journalists and jailed them. He arrested activists and jailed them. He arrested Islamic clerics and jailed them. He arrested Christian clerics and jailed them. He arrested civil servants and jailed them. He arrested teachers and jailed them. He sacked teachers. He sacked civil servants. He unleashed a regime of terror. He has no respect for rule of law. There is no one court order that has ever been respected by the government which he presided over.
How are you in the APC? How are you enjoying the APC? I remember during Buhari's administration, you were one of the biggest critics of that party. It was interesting to see you join the party, and you alluded to some of the things right now, talking about how El-Rufai, how he was under the Buhari administration, and how that was your administration he didn't criticize. And I remember how vehement you were about how the APC was destroying democracy in this country. You talked about these things. And then seeing you in the APC right now, is it a different APC in your view? What's going on? And what's the end point? Are you trying to run for office? How are you in the APC right now?
Nigerian political parties differ from each other by acronyms, and that's all. There is no philosophical and ideological difference between any of the parties. And that is why you see during campaigns, Atiku is for IMF and World Bank, Obi is for IMF and World Bank, my friend President Tinubu is for IMF and World Bank. So you can see all of them, they are all on the political, ideological right. If you're asking for people who destroyed Nigeria from 1999 to 2015, they are in the coalition. If you're asking for people who destroyed Nigeria from 15 to 23, they are in the coalition. If you're asking for people who participated in the first semester and second semester of the destruction of this country, they're all in the coalition. So,
and by the coalition, you mean the ADC?
The ADC.
Okay.
So it is not any different. They cannot do anything differently. Because if they had the magic wand, if they have the miracle to transform Nigeria, they will have done it when they were in power. There in the ADC, you find someone who was a governor, who was in the Senate, who was a minister. So if he had any miracle to perform, that will have been the time for him to do it. So they failed to do it. The ADC now is simply assembling itself. Their own problem is to take over power and continue to do what the political ruling elites do and nothing else. So I am one of the founding fathers of APC in 2014. At least if I'm not a founding father in national level, in my state, I'm a founding father. And I became a senator. And we were forced out of the party by Nasru's brigandage and tyranny. So we now went to the PRP and PDP and galvanized ourselves to make sure we bring down the APC of Nasru. And we did it. Because in 2023, the APC in Kaduna State lost all the central election. In 2023, the APC in Kaduna State lost about 10 of the 14 House of Reps seats. So the APC in Kaduna State was a disaster. The APC in Kaduna State under Nasru lost the presidential election to Atiku. So Atiku won and not Tinubu at that very time now. Now, you can see our impact. And now when Governor Sani came on board, he reached out to all those who have been sent out of the party. He built bridges not just for the politicians, even for the fact that as a state, we have been in a continuous crisis between the Muslim northern part of the state, those of us House of Fulani, and the Christian southern part of the state. When he came, he built bridges. He reached out to the Christian side and opened the government, brought them together, and they all become part of the state. And we had peace. So he has reached out to every person.
So he's the one that asked you to come back to the APC?
He didn't ask me to come back, but he has reached out to all those who left the APC to come back. And as far as I'm concerned, I have to come back because I don't have any friend since childhood that is closer to me than him.
I'm going to ask again before we wrap this up.
I told
Iftar at some point. This is Ramadan now.
I thought we were talking on national scale.
Will there be some kind of... Is it possible that both of you would have Iftar one day and have someone older, preside over the peace between you and this man?
Well, it's possible. The person who will preside will be President Tinubu. To preside over, we have Iftar. There's nothing wrong with Iftar. But philosophically, ideologically, and politically, we have fundamental differences which we cannot live under the same umbrella.
At the fact that we have U.S. forces on the ground, for whatever reason, in a country as big and as important as Nigeria having foreign boots on the ground? Now, we've heard all the explanations. It's a cooperation. We're working together, but we are at least a little old enough to know that when you have U.S. boots on the ground, you've opened yourself up a little bit. And that fear is what many people in the opposition have been pointing out. First of all,
I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. I don't consider him as a Democrat. And I am also not a support of American imperialism that has brought a lot of hardships and death around the world, with the example of what happened in Libya and Syria and Iraq and other places and Afghanistan. But in our own case, we should be appreciative that the U.S. has shown interest in the security of this country.
They did in all those places.
Well, no, hold on.
They did in all those places as well, Senator.
Yeah, I know. Understand. Let me be very frank with you. I've seen some of my friends who have written an open letter, and in that letter they have raised suspicion over the intention of the United States in Nigeria and the implications of their presence here. And there is the issue of sovereignty. Yes, sovereignty is something we should protect and guide. But terrorists have already violated our sovereignty. Foreign terrorists are in Katsina. Foreign terrorists have crossed in to Maiduguri, Borno State. Foreign terrorists are in the northwestern part of our country. And we need every support that is possible for us to be able to deal with our security challenges. And if Russia, if China, if any country in the world is concerned about Nigeria, they shouldn't simply be issuing statements. They should give us weapons, they should give us training, they should do everything they can. But it's only the United States that has shown that practical interest in fighting against this terrorism in this country. And I'm very appreciative of that. American boots is on the ground in United Kingdom. It is on the ground in Germany. It's on the ground in Spain. It's on the ground in all these NATO countries, even countries that are well advanced than us. So we, as long as we have a clear red line that your presence here is partnership for us to be able to deal with our challenges, there's no problem. There is nothing wrong with getting support, getting financial support, getting technological support, getting all the things we need to destroy and annihilate these terrorists.
Okay.
They kill our people, they kidnap our people, they raise down villages. What I do not accept is the notion of so-called Christian genocide. These terrorists are killing both Muslims and Christians in Nigeria.
Okay.
And if any nation wants to help us, they can come. But you cannot say that United States is bad, it is evil, it is that, while you have not supported us. Come to us, support us, let's partner and defeat these evil forces that are in our land.
One thing I'm taking from this interview is you said, and I'm going to get that part, where you said if there's iftar and President Tinubu is the one presiding over the reunion, the peace talks between you and El-Rufai, you would attend that one.
No. I didn't say that. I have nothing to do with him. I'm not going to I'm not wishing to have any iftar with him. So.
Okay. Well, I have to thank you so much, Senator Shehu Sani, for being with us on Hard Copy, and good luck with all the work you have ahead of you.
Thank you for having me.
That's Hard Copy this week. I'm Kayla Megwa. Good night.